Okay, so I'm gonna walk through my code for our project. So first things first, the project file walkthrough. So here we have the assets folder, which contains multiple different folders, some of which are libraries like the Polygon Sci-Fi City that contains all the assets to build our city. We have the normal library. Which contains all the norm core multiplayer scripts. And we also have some custom folders like the Kyle animations, which contains all the animations related to Kyle's like dancing and pistol firing. Here we have the custom prefabs. So a bunch of assets. Bunch of assets that have like scripts, like the flying car with like flying scripts, and then things like a sci-fi handgun with a like projectile shooting scripts. And we also have like a bunch of canvas assets that we made. And also here we have the resources folder, and this contains all the real-time instantiated prefabs, things like Kyle with animation, and then things like the bubble blue like projectile that users fire within the game. And the reason why we put all of these into the resources folder is because the real-time instantiate function specifically looks for this folder when they put an object in the game scene. And then here we have all the 4 scenes, and here we have the scripts, and these are organized by the functionality or where it's attached to. So for instance, we have all the scripts related to Canvas, like the PID and survey Canvas here. Data collection contains scripts related to like saving local data or sending data to Qualtrics. Here we have the Kyle folder related to enemy animation, enemy health, and then enemy spawning, etc. And the AR version is almost the same, except here we have the Oculus folder, which contains like the AR pass-through functionalities and OVR input, of course. And we also have some additional scripts specific for Oculus integration. So things like working haptic feedback that sets the duration of haptic feedback and stuff like that. And in terms of the app design, I designed like the level progression, which means I created and designed like all the different lobbies, like the game lobby, congrats lobby, and then the game over lobby. So if you take a look, I put like a skybox there. I put also like a PID canvas for putting the participant ID, and then the tutorial canvas, of course, to guide users through tutorials, and then a friend avatar so users can practice their collaboration attacks. Within the active game scene, I imported and depict assets for the projectiles. So here I picked like a blue projectile and styled them so that it's like a little smaller. And then I also picked like the green projectile for collaboration attacks. I also designed like the collaboration mechanics. So what does collaboration mean in our game? I thought users should put their guns together and then like fire like a bullet, and that's like a collaboration attack. Yeah, so I designed the collaboration attack. And finally, I also put some little events when users finish their game. So when users successfully finish your trial, they're greeted by these cute little Kyles dancing for you. I thought that was cool. So I hope you enjoyed that. And then in terms of the main functionality, I created so I made a norm core version of the spawn Kyle script. So you can find that in the active game scene. The spawn Kyle script is basically attached to an empty object within the scene called Kyle spawner. It's somewhere there. And the role of the Kyle spawner is to randomly instantiate a set number of Kyles within the scene. So if you look at the script, yeah, so we initially had a local version of spawn Kyle, which basically randomly instantiates Kyles within the scene. But then I made it into a norm core version because we had to make sure that there are only set number of Kyles spawned within the game for the multiplayer purposes. And without like the real-time MVC model to keep track of number of Kyles instantiated within the server, there can be like different number of Kyles for different number of players. So for instance, if we have 1 player, we would have like 10 Kyles. And then if we have 2 players, we would have like 20 Kyles, for instance. And this is because without the real-time model, the Kyle count is local to each player, and each player's script will instantiate Kyles without acknowledging that Kyles are being instantiated in another player's script. So to prevent this from happening, I implemented a Kyle count model, which keeps track of all the number of Kyles instantiated within the scene. And this is bridged by the cows count sync controller. So basically this cows count sync bridges between the cows count model and then our UI script, which is the spawn cow. So whenever a new cow is instantiated, the cows count sync takes note of that. So increment cow count basically updates the model. So yeah, it increments the number of cows within the model. And whenever the model is updated, this on real-time model replace function is called. And when this is called, the UI is updated. So update cow count basically updates the UI. And in our case, it is updating the local variable current cow count within the spawn cow script. So this one here, here. So whenever the model is updated, the current cow count in local script is updated for both players' spawn cow script. So in the end, only 11 cows are instantiated within the game, not anymore. Here we have the update function, and here we check if the number of enemies killed is greater than or equal to 10. And this is the same deal. We have the enemies killed model and then enemies killed sync, which keeps track of all the cows that were killed within the scene. And yeah, this get enemies killed gets the number of enemies killed from the model. And yeah, if the number is greater than or equal to 10, we just save the data and send users to congratulations lobby. Yeah, basically the same deal. And in terms of scripts I wrote, I don't have much time, so I made a list of all the scripts I wrote. You can pause the video and take a look at it. Some of the noteworthy scripts I wrote is the change scale and the keypad. These are scripts attached to each to a survey canvas and then to the PID canvas. And the role of these script is the joystick navigation. So the users are able to interact with different numbers in the canvas using the joystick. I can show it here. So in PID, you just like pick different numbers using the joystick. And also additionally, I wrote the shoot bullet on trigger and shoot local bullet scripts. And they're basically the same. The only difference is that shoot local bullet is for tutorial canvas, tutorial scenes, just to shoot like a normal local bullet. And then the shoot bullet on trigger is used in active game scene to real-time instantiate projectiles. So I can show one of them. They're basically the same, except this one is real-time instantiated. So basically we connect the shooting functions to each to the right trigger and the left trigger. Of course, to make sure that users can use both hands. And once the users like shoot right, they get like haptic feedback, and then the shoot bullet function is called. Same for the left shooting, the haptic feedback on the left controller and the shoot bullet function. And inside the shoot bullet function, we check if the gun is of course selected. And then if it is selected, we check if it is a collaboration attack. And if it is a collaboration attack, we real-time instantiate the green bullet and give like appropriate audio feedback. Otherwise, we instantiate the blue bullet, which is like a normal bullet. And then of course we give another audio feedback. And yeah, the particle is played and then destroyed after 5 seconds. And here we have the functions to check if users can fire the collaboration attack. So what we did is we put a huge box collider around each player's gun and made it into a trigger. And so this on trigger enter checks if another player's gun with the tag player gun is nearby. So if it is nearby, if the trigger is kind of if the box collider is nearby, we set the is collab boolean to true and then give audio feedback as well as haptic feedback. So it's like zzz, so users can feel that they can fire the collaboration attack. And then when another player's gun is not nearby, the on trigger exit function is called and it sets the boolean is collab into false. So users can only fire blue bullet in this case. And yeah, this is again checked inside the shoot bullet function whenever user presses the trigger button. Yeah, and that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed the game. Thank you. Bye-bye.